and welcome to the Holistic Living, Learning, and Loving podcast, where we are bringing you back to the basics.
We explore sustainable living and holistic health and strive for progress, not perfection.
So please join us on a wellness journey and feel empowered to make positive changes in your life. We're going to continue our Hidden in Plain Bite, a guide to safe and healthy eating episode with part 2. We're going to get into sugars, artificial colors, and seed oils and gums and things like that. So please join us, and we hope you like the episode. Thanks. Anyway, so
Definitely.
labels, man. Labels are crazy. They're greenwashed into making people think that it's healthy.
Yeah. So what are some examples? Like what? Sugar free, but then it has all kind of artificial sugars in it, or
Yeah,
what
and like,
else?
dude, it's like the whole, I mean, it goes so far, like with like the advent of like cereals and like giving our kids cereals
Oh,
that you
cereal.
think are like healthy. Oh, you need to eat in the morning. It's so important for you to have a good meal before you go to school. And then it's cereal, and it's like literally the most like toxic stuff you could give them. Grains that are full of Roundup.
And GMOs.
And GMOs, artificial colors out everywhere, just insane high doses of sugar, just like crazy
Yeah.
amounts of it. And like,
It's
here,
empty
this is this,
calories.
it's horrible for you.
Like there's
Absolutely
nothing
horrible.
good about it. It's doing nothing for your body. And then people are always like, but look at all the vitamins and minerals. So by law, they have to add that back into the cereal, because by the time they're done with it, it is so depleted of nutrients that they are like legally obligated to go add those things in there. And
Yeah.
synthetic vitamins and minerals are not the same. Your body doesn't process that in the same way. So and then it doesn't even counteract all those other terrible things that are in that cereal. Stay away from cereal.
Well, okay.
Seriously.
I give the girls cereal. I mean, they eat it every day now. It's this new thing. But I go to Whole Foods and I get just organic cornflakes. And literally, I think it's just like corn and like water, or corn and sugar. I mean, it does have sugar.
Yeah,
But it's just like
we
a
do
very little
cereal.
amount.
We do cereal, but it's organic cereal and it's expensive as hell.
Well,
And
that's why I just do the
yeah,
cornflakes, because it's like I add raisins to it, and I add little wheat puffs that are just like organic wheat and water. Or yeah, I guess water. I don't know, salt or something. Sugar. No, it doesn't even have sugar. Anyway,
yeah,
and like pecans and fruit, and try to make
yeah,
it a whole meal instead of like Lucky Charms or whatever, which is like literally just like it's trash, like absolute
yeah.
garbage.
Like the non-organic cereals is what you have to stay away from. Don't eat those.
Yeah,
Like, and
like
then
all
if you're gonna get
those.
the organic ones, make sure it's like just very few ingredients and the safe ingredients,
Yeah.
safer, because they're gonna have sugar in it, but
Yeah. And like,
hopefully,
in some cases you can make a consolation and give it to your kids, of course. Like, I mean, I'm not saying like no one should
yeah,
ever have a treat every so often. And like if my
yeah,
kids go to someone else's house, like, I'll make concessions on some stuff. That's really hard. But
I know.
but like my girls eat this every day. And so like I have to
Mine do
make it
too.
as healthy as possible. And honestly, I found some cornflakes with no sugar, and these little girls are about to get that. And they probably won't notice because they'll have raisins and it'll still be good.
Yeah, it'll give it a little sweetness. So yeah, but
So yeah,
so
sugar, that's a big
yeah,
one.
I was like talking about sugar. So I like to look for as much as possible. Like I said, I buy the organic cereal and that has sugar in it. But like in my pantry, there's very few things that have added sugar in them. Like my peanut butter, I have like an organic peanut butter, and the only thing that's in it is peanuts.
Yeah.
These things are out there that you can buy. They don't have fruits. Sometimes they'll add sugar to fruits, like dried fruits and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Don't
dried fruits. Like you have to look at the label
Yeah,
when you buy dried fruit. Do not buy
I made
dried
that
fruit with
mistake.
extra sugar. Dried fruit already has a ton of sugar. There's no need to
I
put any more
know.
in there.
I know, it's so crazy. But like there's so many options to sweeten your food without processed sugar. Processed sugar is very inflammatory. It's very just bad for you. And we consume as Americans so much
Oh my God,
sugar.
so
Our
much.
bodies were never made to handle that much sugar ever. And fruits, even back way, way, way back when, maybe in like the hunter gatherer times, was not even as sweet as it is now. We've hybridized our fruit so much
Yeah.
that our fruit, the sugar content in our fruit is already so high. So, yeah, like just you can sweeten things with local raw honey. Now, honey from the store isn't the best option. There's That's a whole other topic, but honey is a very commonly adulterated thing.
Hmm.
Um, so like local raw honey is your best option, and then you got pure maple syrup
Well, wait, let's
and
backtrack on honey for a second. So, like, again, I'm going to say here, like, go to your farmer's market, find a farmer,
yeah.
go on Facebook Marketplace and type in honey, and you'll find someone who is doing the bee thing at their house. So, honey is just this amazing, like, thing, and a lot of people are having bees and making it. And so, there's no reason why you should even have to buy it in the
Yeah.
store. Go on Facebook Marketplace
Yeah,
and find someone. That's what I did.
it's pretty easy to find some local raw honey.
Yeah.
And
And it's so good and way better for you
yeah,
than the stuff at the
and
store.
helps with allergies, like seasonal allergies too. Like my son is really sensitive to pollen, and we just give him honey. And
Oh.
because it has pollen, it's like a what do you
Oh, I
call
should give
that?
that
It's
to
like the same,
Mike. He's been struggling
huh?
lately with allergies. So.
Yeah, it seems to help him, because it has the local pollen in it. So it's what do you call that? I can't think of the like basically the same concept as like a vaccine, basically.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
What I really like to use is coconut sugar.
that
And
was my next one.
yeah, and like I really at first it was hard to like get off of normal sugar and go to coconut sugar because it does taste different. It has like a more kind of like brown sugar caramelized kind of taste, which actually works really well in a lot of
I really
recipes.
like it.
Yeah, I really do
Reminds me of
too.
graham crackers.
Yeah, it does. It kind of tastes like that. And also, if you actually look at like at the glycemic indexes of all these things, like coconut sugar is actually really low on the glycemic index. Like it's lower than honey and maple syrup and all that. So it's actually
Oh,
pretty
that's
good
good to
for you.
know.
Now,
That's
I don't know if
awesome.
later in 5 years or less, they're going to say, oh, coconut sugar is bad for you. I mean, I have no idea. It seems okay. That's what I like to
Well,
use.
that's another thing. Science is always changing. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like nothing is written in stone. So all the science you've been believing your whole life that we're contradicting right now, you have to understand that science is always changing.
Hmm.
So we were taught a lot of things that we have now discovered were incorrect and not true. You know?
Absolutely. And then sugar alternatives, man, that stuff is so bad.
Yeah, there just is no good sugar alternative,
You know what's
right?
funny is Mike and I traveled a long time ago, and we went to like Los Angeles, and we were eating breakfast one morning at a restaurant, and there was a lady next to us with a like with like a little girl, I think, and the little kid, took out the sugar packets to play with them, right?
Oh.
And she said, "Don't touch that; it's poison." And Mike and I were like, "Oh my god, the psycho!" And now I am that
Now you
person.
are that psycho.
It was so funny. We were both like, "Oh my god, like get a grip, lady."
I know, isn't it funny? Because I used to have those thoughts too when I'd hear people talk about those things. And now it's like, I know what it looks like when people are having those thoughts about you because I did them. I had those thoughts and judgments. And now I'm like, I know people, I can tell when people are thinking that about me. Like now I know what people think about me.
I know. So, but yeah, sugar alternatives, like a lot of that stuff, like aspartame and all that stuff, like it's linked to cancer. It's just like, I mean,
Alzheimer's,
it's just really
dementia.
bad. Like all that stuff. Like, so people with, I'm sorry, dad, your Diet Coke habit is
Oh,
so bad. It's so
your
bad.
dad is so hooked on that stuff. Hey, it's pretty addictive too, I believe,
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I read a while back that even before I went down this journey or on this journey, that basically these sugar substitutes they're not even food. Like your body, they're like they say that it's better the sugar because it doesn't help you make you gain weight, but really it makes you gain more weight than regular sugar because your body doesn't recognize it as food, so it just stores it in your fat cells. It stores it as fat. It doesn't know what to do with it because
Yeah, it's just
it's
like
not
weird
food.
stuff that's created and it's just strange and I don't like it. And I don't, I really don't actually know like a ton about it. Maybe we are going to go into
Yeah.
sugar later, so we'll get into that then. But I mean, I feel like it's just whenever like we kind of talked about cereal and like choosing stuff with like fewer ingredients. Like the shorter you can make your ingredients list, the more healthy it is.
Oh yes, definitely. That's like my uh thing. Like I don't go into learning about like all the, which not saying it's a bad thing. Me personally, I haven't taken the time to learn about all the different preservatives I should avoid and chemicals and everything, because for me, I just know that I want to stick to real whole foods and really short ingredients lists that have foods I know and recognize. If I don't, I typically won't eat it. And that is the best way to go about it. But of course sometimes we do buy things that have um, some of these ingredients, and Heather's going to talk a lot about that in a little bit, how to
Yeah, I'll
tell the
just go. I
difference.
mean, so like some of the stuff that I like go into real hard is like seed oils. Like so
Yeah.
that's kind of like a relatively new thing that I got into. Seed oils, we're talking about like canola oil, corn oil, cottonseed, soy oil, sunflower, safflower, grape seeds. Those different seed oils are like in everything. Like good
Yep.
luck finding something that has doesn't have that in it, okay? The reason why they're bad is because of the way that it changes the omega acids in our bodies. It changes them from a very healthy omega acid to a very harmful type, which is not ideal for how our body processes the food. It's very inflammatory to our gut. To like ultimately when our gut is inflamed, it starts to mess with our like hormones and like cause hormone disruptions and things like that, like cause inflammatory conditions, Hashimoto, those type of
Leaky
inflammatory
gut.
responses.
Oops.
Yeah, leaky gut, which like
Which
I
leads to
actually it's just
many other autoimmune diseases.
yeah, so it's just inflamed. I mean, number one, it's inflammatory. Um, and then there's a lot of harmful additives that they put in it. Basically, a lot of these oils, when they're processing, are like rancid. They smell
Hmm.
bad, they taste really bad, and they have to process it and heat it up and add chemicals, like some chemicals from the
Detergents
petroleum industry, detergents, like like
and
odorants, like
bleaches.
all these things that they
Yeah,
have to
deodorants.
add.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, to make it palatable. Like it is nasty stuff that they have to change so that we can even eat it. So it's
Yeah,
like,
like
why would we even eat something like that?
right. Seed oils is something that would never exist without modern machinery and equipment, because you can't just squeeze oil out of a seed that easily. You know, it takes, and like Heather said, they're rancid and like not palatable. So yeah, I was gonna read this little thing. So really, the history of canola oil is during the Second World War, rapeseed oil was used on naval ships as a lubricant. When the war ended, there was so much farmland in Canada already dedicated to growing rapeseed that they wanted to find other uses for it. It took them until the 1970s to figure out a way to make it fit for human consumption. Rapeseed oil is such a terribly foul tasting and smelling oil that it must be heavily refined, bleached, and deodorized using harsh chemicals for it to be palatable. And that's exactly what they've done.
That
And
is
the end
like
result is
crazy.
canola oil. And that's the
That,
story for all seed oils, really.
yes, it like started because someone needed to make money off of it. And
Yeah, like
now,
cottonseed oil, grapeseed
yeah,
oil,
they had
that's
to figure out a purpose
byproducts.
and
Yeah.
someone's lobbying to make sure that that goes in all of our foods. And if
Mm-hmm.
you start turning over the labels of your foods and looking at it, Like
It's in
you
everything.
are going to see it. One of those versions of seed oils is almost in every single product at Whole Foods,
Yeah.
at Walmart, at I don't even care where. It's everywhere.
Even organic ones, because they'll say, oh, it's organic canola oil,
Yeah.
organic cottonseed oil. But that doesn't change the fact that it's still a rancid, terrible oil that's not fit for consumption. They're really high in
Threes,
omega 6 fatty acids,
sixes.
which, yeah, which is, you're not supposed to have like high omega 6s, right? And
Yeah, I
that's,
think
they're
omega 6 is the
inflammatory.
bad one and omega 3s are the good
Three
ones.
is the good one.
And
Yeah.
I read today that the omega 6s in that like converts our good omega 3s to omega 6s. Like it
Yeah.
just screws it all up.
Yeah, so the oils are definitely, so what are some good options to stick to? Coconut oil,
Yes,
avocado
love
oil,
it.
olive oil,
Hmm.
and lard and tallow. So another thing, when it comes to oil, it's never really good to fry foods or cook oil at a high temperature. That's never
Hmm.
good. That turns your oil rancid, or I think it's rancid. I don't know. It makes it unsafe or not fit for consumption. It can be, it's can, once
It
it goes
changes the
past its
chemical
smoke point,
constituents of it and makes it basically toxic.
yeah, and it becomes like a carcinogen,
Yes.
cancer causing. And most oils, even though they say they're good for high heat, they're really like not safe to cook on very high heats, like when it comes to frying. And if you're gonna fry food, the best option is like lard or tallow, which we were always told back in the day that that was not safe to eat, but it actually is. It's not bad for you. That's a whole nother topic on why we
Yeah,
were
I mean,
taught to believe
but I
that.
mean, from what I understand is like I just learned this recently that like olive oil is really not. I mean, if you're putting something in the oven, then you really shouldn't put olive oil on it because I think olive oil's smoke point is like 350 ish or maybe
Yeah, I
325.
mean, the
You
smoke
have to
point
look
on
at
a
the
lot of
bottle.
oils.
It says how high you should cook with it. So I use avocado oil in the
Me too.
oven for like savory dishes, and I use coconut oil for everything that's like sweet.
Yeah, I mainly use avocado oil for like all of the things I cook, really, and coconut oil for things that, yeah,
Yeah.
things that are
And then if I'm
sweet.
doing something on a pan, like, just cooking, like frying up onions or not frying them, but, sauteing them, then I use olive oil. And I use olive oil for making eggs.
I also make sure to just cook on a lower heat. I was always like really bad for cooking on high heats to like be quick and stuff, but
I'm still
I
in
just
like
cook on a
that.
lower heat.
Guilty.
I've just gotten used to doing that now, so that's just what I do because now I know,
You
it's in
know
my head
better.
to, yeah.
Yeah, I need to get better about that. And then I buy the sprays too, like the olive oil spray and the avocado spray. You just have to be careful that doesn't contain a propellant because it can have a chemical
Yeah.
propellant in it that makes it come out. But Whole Foods has that, and I think, no, I don't know. So my next one's palm oil. Palm oil is in a lot of like sweets, like chocolates, and a lot of like sweets processed products. Palm oil is a really bad one. So it's always been known as an environmental hazard because they like basically chop down native like Amazonian forests to like plant palm because it's so widespread. So it's like an environmental issue. But then they kind of found out in the last few years that it actually metastasizes cancer and tumors in your body. So like if you have like possibly, I mean, I don't know, if you could have, like people have like cancer cells in their bodies, but like your
Everyone
body
has
like
cancer
fights
cells.
them. But
Hmm.
palm oil actually was shown in rats to metastasize that cancer to turn it from like a dormant cancer cell into an active one. And so like
Wow.
I don't mess with that, honey. Like if it causes cancer, if it could, I don't need it. I do not need it in
Right.
my
And
life.
there's so many other options you can use. So there's
Yeah.
just no need, just like the sugar, like there's no need to use these other things that are terrible for you because there's great alternatives.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not you really want to look out for is nitrates and nitrites in things like sausage, pepperoni, hot dogs, which first of all, you really want to stay away from processed meats if you can.
Meats.
But
Yeah.
also, like, I like to buy turkey bacon. Or actually, I just like to buy bacon, but I buy turkey bacon because I cannot find any bacon without nitrates or nitrites. Um, so bacon isn't necessarily a processed meat, but it has it. It's a preservative, and it also like enhances color. I don't think it's actually necessary, but they put it in there, and it's a known carcinogen. They did a big study on nitrates and nitrites in hot dogs years ago, and realized that it correlated with cancer in children because children
Mm.
ate a lot of hot dogs. And so you definitely don't want to consume that. You want to make sure when if you're buying those things, try to find them without. I have not been able to find pepperoni without it. I was able to find salami without it. Um
Oh
and
yeah, I think I have like tried to
uh,
look for that too before, but I just don't I'm done with that.
yeah,
Pepperonis and cured meats and stuff like that. I just don't mess with it. Like sandwiches. I get like Whole Foods
yeah.
has like an in-house like turkey that
That's
you
another
get. It's just like
meats.
roasted turkey and it's not
You
processed, you know, it's just their version of it, I guess. I hope.
But even unprocessed deli meats will have the nitrates and nitrites because of like preservatives and color enhancer. That's why I want to say that's what makes your ham the color it is. Like we expect it to be what,
Like
like
pink.
pink. I think that's
Yeah.
what makes it pink. I could don't like quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just something you want to look out for when it comes to your like your meats.
Yeah, another thing, like, so I talk about getting into things, and I mentioned it earlier, that I'm like very recently, probably like only 2 weeks now, like focusing, well, maybe a little longer on gums. So, like, you know, I started to notice when I'm looking at labels, like, every single thing has some version of a gum, like Arabic, guar, gelin, lecithin, carrageenan, xanthan, like all those gums are in like absolutely everything. So of course I got down that rabbit hole and found out that those are also like pretty horrible for us. They cause a lot of gut disruptions again, a lot of inflammation, leaky gut, all that stuff, which just lead to long term, you know, health issues. And like, I just get so aggravated because I'm like, even recently, so the big thing that really like burned me up is I like coffee creamer, I always have, but I'm dairy free. So I like nut pods. And I found out nut pods doesn't have Roundup. So I was like, yay. But then, of course, they have gum. And I drink it every single day, you know. And so I went to the store today to get coconut milk. And all the coconut milks have gums in them. Like, I'm like, why can't it just be coconut milk?
I
And
know.
I found some in a can that's just coconut milk. And so it's actually really good. I did that in a couple sticks of cinnamon and a little bit of some vanilla extract that I made. And it's like really, really yummy.
And that shows you that they don't have to put that in there because if somebody's making it without it, then they don't have to put it in there, but they do. And I find a lot of these gums are in a lot of health
Oh,
food
yeah.
like health.
Because it makes it thicker.
Yeah.
And like
So they
everybody, like coconut milk, you want it to be really nice and thick, you know, and like they want to use less coconut milk because it's expensive to put pure coconuts in there, so they want to
uh,
cut it with water and for their profits. And so then, so they can do that, they add this really cheap, nasty freaking gum to make it thick like you would expect, but
that's
it's just like sabotaging us.
that's so shameful. And that's the story of like almost everything in the grocery store.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
like,
it's just
so
constantly stuff like that.
even like, so all the commercial coconut milks in the like in the containers had gums. And then so I go in like kind of like the Asian food section, they have coconut milk there, and there's a couple different brands. One's the 365 Whole Foods organic coconut milk, right? I look at it, it's $1.99 a jar, a can, and it has gum in it. I go to the other one that's like 350 and it's just coconut and water. And so it's like, damn it. I got like, of course, all these other ones have the gums, and this is the only one, and it's like super expensive. I mean, not super expensive, but it's expensive,
Yeah.
you know?
But that's how it goes. You know, you have to pay more for a quality product, you know? And it's just, do you want to put crappy, toxic ingredients into your body, or do you want to pay them more and just pass up on all those other things you buy all month long and have better food for your body? I know it sucks because it's not what we're used to. But if
Hmm.
food would have been made the way it was supposed to be made all this time, we would have already been conditioned to paying those prices,
Yeah. And
you
like,
know?
like I kind of look at it too, like from a vanity standpoint. Okay, let's go back into like early 2000s Heather and let's just talk about diets and stuff like that, like for weight loss. Um, is like I've gotten to this place where I like get to these places with these chemicals, which are bad for us, and there's no need for me to be holding on to this stuff. And I like it gets so disgusted about it that it just becomes this thing that I just won't eat. And at first, I'll make
Yeah.
a few exceptions, but over time, I get to this place where if it has it in there and I know it, I will not, I won't. So when I don't mess with that, then you eliminate like a lot of foods that honestly aren't even good for you, that are bad foods, they're junk and they're just making you overweight and things like that. So like over time it's like yes, you're getting healthier, but that's like kind of a hard thing to see because it's like
Yeah.
healthy, it's internal, you don't really like get to see it like as in oh, it's like basically a diet because I can't eat all this junk anymore, so I'm not doing that anymore, so like your body is going to show the benefits of it too for your vanity
Oh,
self.
yeah. And that's a really good point that you brought up. Like, so even if you can't make these changes right now, like just consuming this content, learning about it, educating yourself, that stuff starts to play in your head. Okay. And the more you educate yourself, the more you learn, the more you're going to even unknowingly start to make better decisions at the store because it's going to bother you. It's easy to make these bad choices when you don't know better. So I feel like a lot of people purposely stay in that
I
place
know because you
because
don't want to
they know, if
know.
they know better, if they know that they know better, then they have to feel bad when they choose to make bad decisions. You know what I mean? Now you're choosing to make a bad choice because you know better. So you're going to start making small steps towards a healthier lifestyle. And then once you really start eliminating these bad foods out of your diet, and then you splurge one day and you go eat Burger King or whatever, you feel it.
Oh
And that's when
yeah.
you realize, okay, this is making a huge difference in my health and the way I feel. And we're so used to, when we're eating conventionally, we're so used to feeling like shit all the time. Like, we
Hmm.
feel like shit all the time and we just think that that's normal. Oh, we're getting old. Ha ha ha. No, we're like, that's not normal. We're not supposed to just fall apart, at 30 years old.
Yeah.
That isn't normal. We're not supposed to feel like crap all the time. And so we, because we feel like crap all the time, we don't even realize how bad it is until you start to feel better. And then you feel it again. You're like, oh, like I feel so much better now. I didn't realize how bad I was feeling all of these years.
And also, it takes a long time to feel the change because we
Yeah.
have been eating horribly for a lifetime at this
Yes.
point. Like, I had been eating horribly for 38 or whatever, maybe not when I started, but most of my entire life up to now. So, like, why
Mm-hmm.
should it say, like, oh, well, I don't feel good in a week, so must not be doing anything? Like, I
Right. So many
really
people think like that.
yeah, no, it takes a long time to see those benefits. I actually, having hormone problems and stuff like that, I kind of touched upon briefly earlier. Like already in perimenopause, I'm 39 years old, already like almost about to be in menopause. And people are like, my dad always says, no, no, that can't be true. I'm like, no, like it really is. Like I do not cycle anymore. Like it's the shift is happening, and I'm very young for that shift to happen. And so I started seeing a functional doctor and getting into that. And she was like, you got to give up gluten and dairy, like for your hormones to get straight. Like they're very inflammatory. And you and I know we like don't agree on this topic either, but I did, or at least part of it, because you're into dairy and I'm not, but I'm also gluten and
Well,
dairy
I
and you're
know.
just
I
gluten.
agree with it. And
Yeah.
I'll explain after. I'll let you explain yourself
Yeah.
first.
So, anyways, I got off that like at the beginning of the year. I started that like any good resolution. And okay, so it's April. Now I've cheated a couple of times on the diet. Mostly though, I'm very, very, very clean about it. And like a couple weekends ago, we got pizza. And if I'm gonna get pizza, I mean that's the gluten and the dairy. So let's get ice cream after. So we went to ice cream shop, got ice cream. This is nothing normal. I would have eaten like this every Friday before forever. And then the next day, I felt like I don't drink anymore either, but I felt like I had a hangover. Like I didn't want to get out of bed. I was tired. My head hurt, like all these horrible things. And I was like, dude, what in the hell? Like this food makes me feel horrible, you know?
Yeah.
But it took 4 months for me
Yes.
to feel like that.
Yeah, you could like, and you could start to notice differences like after 2 weeks to a month, though, if you like completely cut something out. But on the topic of milk, so a lot of people argue that milk is bad, which conventional milk is. It just is. It takes they pasteurize it. It takes out all of the good microbes that help you digest it, and your body just doesn't even recognize it or know how to. Your body doesn't know how to process it without those healthy microbes in it. So the best way to consume milk, if you're going to consume milk, is raw milk. But like Heather said, a lot of people will tell you shouldn't consume milk all at all, and the reason for that is because of the hormones. That after all, milk is made to grow a calf into a cow, you know, and that's not compatible with us. And that is a good argument, and I agree with that. But I also know that there are a lot of people out there who consume raw dairy on the regular and they have great results from it. They have no problems with it. So where I stand with it is if you're dealing with health issues like hormone issues, autoimmune diseases, any kind of health issue, then you probably wouldn't want to consume dairy, or you should cut it out of your diet and see how you feel after a month. And then
Mm,
when you consume it again, see if issues start to come back. Because a lot of people can't consume milk, even if it is raw. It is a pretty like it is inflammatory for many people, raw
yeah.
or not. It just depends. You have to figure out what works for you. But that's the whole story behind that. And another thing is it's really good if you can get A2 milk. That's even better. That's the protein in milk. All cows carried the A2 gene for all of time until we started like industrializing it, or like having these big factories, and we were breeding cows to produce lots and lots of milk, the Holstein and all of that, which started to create it changed the protein in their milk to A1. Mostly all the milk in the grocery store is at A1 protein, which is inflammatory. Just it's kind of acts a lot like gluten.
Hmm.
And so A2 is a lot easier on the body to digest. So if you can get that, that's better.
Yeah. Um, we
But
kind of touched on it earlier about colors. So colors is in everything. Um, I mean, like red, number, whatever, greens, blues. If it says F, D, and C, that's colors. Titanium dioxide is like a white color, which is in almost everything, including toothpaste. So good luck finding toothpaste that doesn't have that. Trader Joe's actually has some that doesn't have titanium dioxide. But even in the like in Europe, colors are banned there. Like, well,
yeah.
artificial colors are banned there. There's a lot of colors that can be made using, natural like turmeric or like berries and things like that. But artificial colors, they don't even have that. If you go buy like Skittles in Europe, like it's a clean version of Skittles because they don't play around with that stuff and they don't let them put a bunch of preservatives and colors and additives in their products in Europe.
Yep. And the fact that they make Skittles and every other brand makes two different products for different countries is really sad. Like if you can
Mm,
make it for one country, why not make it for the other? But that's because it's all about the money here,
yes.
That's proof that they're not looking out for your safety and your health, and you need to really take it into your own hands. And there it just is, I would say, no safe artificial colors. I hear some
No.
people talk about the different ones like, oh, I'll let my kids have the green but not the yellow or whatever. None of the I don't I disagree. I think none of them are good.
Yeah, they're made like most artificial colors are like basically derived from the petroleum industry. It's made with chemicals to get these colors. There's nothing like normal or natural about them. And like they're in like so many things and there's studies that show that they lead to like hyperactivity and cancers and inflammation and all these horrible things. And like why do we even have colors in food? Like it is
I
this
know.
mental thing. Like for me, that gets me. Why do pickles have yellow dye in them. They're pickles. I don't care what color the
I
cucumber
know.
is, but like it's in
And that's
literally
a
like
lot of
almost every
things.
pickle.
Yeah, that's a lot of foods. Like I forgot which one it was. It was something that's naturally white, but it's not a bright white. So they add food coloring into it because they want it to be a bright white. Like that's the story a lot of the times, that they're just adding unnecessary coloring in there just to make it more appealing to the eye, to make
It's
people want to
also
eat it.
it's like America's obsession with perfection. Like it doesn't have to be
Yeah,
perfect. Like it's
I know.
okay. It doesn't have to be bright white. It can be, you know, like off white. Like you're fine. Like your candy doesn't have to have all these like horrible chemicals in it too. I mean, it's already bad enough because it's pure sugar, but like now you're adding all this other junk to it. You know, it's like it just doesn't have to be this bad.
And the fact that petroleum ever got approved as something we could consume, or any kind of byproduct from it or created from it, is like insanity. Like, and that's in so many things. Like, so many things are created from petroleum,
I
and
know.
it's just crazy. It's so crazy to me. And we say, why are they putting this in our food when it's unnecessary? But you know why? Because we keep buying it. You
Yes.
really have to vote with your dollars. If people stop buying it, that will create a demand for something different. As long as
Yeah,
people keep spending their money on this stuff, you're giving them the reason to keep making it. You really need to vote with your dollars.
absolutely, man. That is like the number
Yeah.
one thing is like it's all driven by money. If someone can make money doing it, they're going to do it. If, you know, they can cut costs by adding something, if they can make it more appealing, they target to children, like making
Oh
these like
yeah.
cereals that are super bad, like totally geared towards children, like a cartoon, you know. They make these more addictive. Like it's just about stimulating their pocketbooks, you know, like
Yeah.
we are giving them our money to poison us by consuming this stuff.
Yeah. So that they're going to follow the money. They're going to do whatever is going to get them the most money. So let's show them where, what we want, where we're going to spend our money, and they will provide because that's all they care about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But unfortunately, we can't depend on the government to fight this battle for us. They are heavily influenced by lobbyists, the petroleum
Yep.
industry, who wants to keep these products in our food because it's a big revenue source for them to for this to be in literally every single item that you buy at the grocery store. Like that is lucrative to them. And so they
Yep.
will continue to put high paid lobbyists in places to make sure that this stuff will never get out of our food system. And you know, you have some aggressive states and aggressive, you know, like not companies but like nonprofit type people that try and like create this change, but the general consumer, like if the general consumer doesn't care, then it's not going to go anywhere. You know, everyone kind of has to care about this stuff for it to go anywhere.
It's true.
So they try to create like, you know, waves in this industry, but it's very hard to change the way it's been done for so long. That's very, you know, making people a lot of money.
Yep.
So thanks so much, everyone, for listening. Next week, we are going to sum up our three-part series, Hidden in Plain Bite, a guide to safe and healthy eating. We hope you enjoy this episode. We hope that you like and subscribe, share with a friend, and that you feel empowered to make healthy changes in your life. So see you next week. Bye.